To a head this afternoon when All-Pro edge rusher Micah Parsons announced that he personally had requested a trade from Stephen Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. He wants to be done with Dallas right now, and he laid out factually in his mind a slew of factors as to why he no longer wants to be with the team that he and his father grew up rooting for. And at its root, essentially, is a failed contract negotiation in which he feels like the Dallas Cowboys got him in a room to talk about leadership, wound up in a negotiation. The Cowboys felt like they had a deal. Micah Parsons did not. He had his agent call there. His agent obviously said there's no deal, and there's been no contact in recent months about a contract at a time where we've seen Max Crosby get paid. We've seen Myles Garrett get paid. We've seen TJ Watt get paid, and we have not seen Micah Parsons get paid. Not only have we not seen him get paid, we haven't seen or heard about any conversations between the two sides. And we said this all week long, but essentially the sides right now have been further apart today in early August than they were in early April. And now it's culminated in Micah Parsons issuing a trade request. It's gone viral. He's got teammates on Twitter supporting him, and there's more drama in Dallas.
Adam, I feel like this is crazy to even ask, but I'm going to ask you. Would the Cowboys actually trade Micah Parsons?
Well, I've been trying to think of the last time that Jerry Jones traded a Pro Bowl caliber player away, and I cannot think of any. Now, there are comps out there. If you look at the time that the Raiders traded Khalil Mack to the Bears right before the season began in September for a couple of first-round picks and other compensation. That would be the closest comp. But Jerry Jones wants to win now. He's not looking to win in the future. He's not looking for future draft picks, and his history suggests that he won't be willing to make a trade here. Now, again, we have yet to hear from the Dallas Cowboys on how they feel about this particular situation. But we've now seen all three disgruntled contractual players, Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, and Trey Hendrickson, request a trade at some point either this offseason or this summer. And it's one thing to actually make the request. It's another to see it come to fruition. Could it happen? Yes. Every other team would love to acquire any one of these players. But for it to actually happen takes an awful lot because you've got to satisfy the player with his contract and the team that is trading him away.
All right, Adam, thanks so much for all of the context here. Just incredible out of you. We appreciate you. You referenced that statement. It was lengthy, 592 words to be exact, posted on Twitter. Parsons said in part, yes, I wanted to be here. I did everything I could to show that I wanted to be a Cowboy and wear the star on my helmet. You sense the past tense there. Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. I had purposely stayed quiet in hopes of getting something done. Up to today, the team has not had a single conversation with my agent about a contract. Not one demand has been made by my agent about money, years, or anything else. Still, I stayed quiet, but again, after repeated shots at myself and all the narratives I have made a tough decision, I no longer want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. My trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally. Oh my, Marcus Spears demanded to be on the show today. Some airtime after seeing that Micah post. Swagoo, you've done business in Dallas. What do you make of all this?
So initially, Boogie, I had the emotional reaction because y'all know how I am when it comes to the Cowboys, and I start thinking about like through history. And here recently, we had Myles Garrett do the same thing. So once I got calm and I stopped cussing everybody out in the facility of the Dallas Cowboys, I started thinking about, all right, so this is a negotiation tactic. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And it kind of settled me on the isolated Micah Parsons and Dallas Cowboys in this route right now where we've seen this happen, not only with Dak Prescott, not only with CeeDee Lamb, but as I read his soliloquy and as I focused on one part of those that I excerpted one part out of that, I tried to negotiate and it didn't matter, and I was not waiting for all of the other guys to get their money. This in lies the problem. It's a two-part thing for me. One, 2 months ago, I was in the airport headed to a basketball tournament with my son. Dude walks up and says, man, how you think we gonna be this year? It's Cowboy fans everywhere. I said, you know what? I feel good about it because it's quiet. I was like, it's not a lot going on. Usually, those type of off seasons lead to Dallas having a formidable season and potentially making a playoff run. I was optimistic about what the Cowboys potentially could be this year, which if Micah gets signed, I'm back to optimism as far as on the field. But the thing is this, and this is what I've been saying, and Boogie, you and I have been doing this forever, and we're about to start another football season. People have to understand how much this affects a football team that is trying to focus on winning. We have these conversations every damn year about the Cowboys. It's always some sort of noise that does not play into actually winning football games. So as opposed to me going crazy and losing my ish on TV, with the contract negotiation, I'm not going to lose my mind. Shefty has been doing this longer than anybody. He's the best in the business. He usually has a feel for these things. I circle back to what I said. Myles Garrett requested a trade. I thought that was going to be it in Cleveland. He ends up signing a whopping $40+ million a year salary deal. Hopefully, that is what Micah and his agent David Mulligetta is doing. But Lord have mercy, do we have a problem if he's serious? Do we have a problem if you can't get this back to where he is actually wearing that uniform? He's the best player on the team, on a team that is absolutely going to need him with a brand new head coach. But here's the other issue I have. Why can't we ever just have a normal offseason with training camp, get ready for the season, go into the season and play football games? And I don't want to hear it. Everybody here always tries to tell me, Swag, calm down. It's going to get fixed. Don't worry about the contract. This stuff affects the winning. It affects the team and how they actually play football. So I don't want to hear it this year. I've watched them implode. I've watched us lose playoff games. And then we get to the offseason, and guess what we do, Boogie? What's the definition of a damn fool? Doing something over and over again and thinking something is going to change. So here we are again, like last year with CeeDee Lamb, like the year previously with Dak Prescott. Here we are again with the marquee star on the defensive side of the football, and it's going to lead to us having a conversation sometime in November and December about why the hell the Dallas Cowboys not a contender to get into the playoffs.
Okay, so you started out where you weren't losing it, but then you did lose it, which is really what I was waiting for. And I knew we'd get you there, Swagoo. I knew it somehow, some way. Okay, we're going to bring Courtney Cronin and Kevin Clark in here because I want to get y'all's thought on this as well. But first, I do want to show you some of what you heard Adam referencing as well as Marcus referencing there. How about this from CeeDee Lamb? Never fails, dog. Just pay the man what you owe him. No need for the extracurricular. My goodness, you see the teammates posting on X there. Their new profile pictures are Micah Parsons. They're even doing that thing you can do where he said new profile picture so everybody sees it, right? This is wild. I want to go first to Courtney here on just maybe the distraction side of all of this. I mean, we know the Cowboys are going to have a certain level of distraction every single season, but as Marcus alluded to, they're trying to get ready under a new head coach. How do you think this affects everything going on with the team?
New head coach and new defensive coordinator. Good point. So more on that in a minute, but I need somebody to go to the Cowboys facility and remove every copy of 48 Laws of Power that are in every front office because this is not the way you conduct business. And I know that there is something to be said about Jerry Jones being the GM and owner, and he did it for so long. It's worked because eventually these deals get done. With players in this day and age, in an era of player empowerment, you're seeing it so much more in professional sports, particularly in the NFL. You can't do business this way anymore. It's a bad method, and it creates bad blood within the locker room, within the team. We saw this with CeeDee Lamb, with Dak Prescott, and the statement that Micah Parsons put out, that got really personal. He was talking about Jerry Jones calling him out for his injuries and talking about, well, why would I want to pay a player that's been injured in the certain instances in which he has. He talks about going into Jerry's office to talk about leadership, and all of a sudden a leadership conversation turns into something about negotiations where his agent isn't even present. He's made comments about his agent, David Mulugeta, acting like he has no clue who one of the most powerful agents in sports is. These are all pot shots that could have absolutely been avoided. And Jerry has talked about doing business right. And, I don't mind costing myself more money just as long as we get the deal done. I can remember a time last December, Laura, where Micah Parsons told Todd Archer that there's not much of a difference between $30 and $40 million. They could have done this months ago, right? And smoothed all of this over to the point where you get sports and you get business. You have it's not an issue anymore. But now they've created something, toothpaste is out of the tube. And I don't know how you end up remedying this unless you're going to give him the $43 million bag, which they clearly don't want to do right now.
Yeah, and it just doesn't feel like after a statement like this, to your point, some of the personal shots that have been taken on both sides here, that this is easily rehabbed. The other thing about this, Kevin, and Courtney's alluding to this, okay, you draft really well. You develop this player. He was already uber talented. Pay him early. Get it done. Why does this happen with the Cowboys?
Why does this happen with the Cowboys? That is a great question, Laura. When I think about the Eagles in that division, they have the best roster in football right now. Howie Roseman said it a couple weeks ago. They do three things. They draft, they develop, they sign. They do all of those things as quickly as they can, and that's the reason they're able to maximize their roster. That's the reason that they have four guys who are being paid as top-tier players who are making as much as the top two players on the Cowboys, because the Cowboys do not maximize their salary cap, okay? That is the way Jerry Jones does business. And people say, oh, he's always done this. That's worse, right? That makes it worse. And people say, okay, well, there's an element of professional wrestling. Well, sometimes professional wrestlers get hurt. And that's what happens in these sort of scenarios. Is you get into a situation where you think we're playing the game, we're just trying to generate headlines. Well, guess who's not trying to play the game? Micah Parsons. He's trying to get paid. He is the type of player where if you lose him, you are looking to replace him for a decade or longer. 25% of the team's pressures last year were from Micah Parsons. By the way, he missed 4 games. That should not be happening. He is their defense. They have to improve in that regard, and they have to have him on the field. This is embarrassing. Every summer we go through something like this. Jerry Jones, I know this sounds crazy, but you got to change a little bit, buddy.
Yeah, Marcus, you know Jerry. I mean, does Jerry like doing this? I know he likes the attention maybe, but this to me is so mind-boggling that you wouldn't just find a way to pay your best player on the team. What do you think just from the personal side of it, right? Because I think that's a big factor here.
Boogie, therein lies the problem. I'm sick of saying it. This is Jerry. This is what he does. This is who he is. We get on this damn TV and we make excuses for dumb decision making, and we've been doing it year after year after year. I'm done with it. I don't need nobody to tell me to calm down. Micah gonna get paid. Don't worry about it. He gonna build it up all the way into the offseason. The problem is there are ramifications for that. It's not just about Micah getting paid. It's team chemistry. It's camaraderie. It's a locker room with their guy. One of the mantelpieces of what this football team is going to have success with if they get him in the locker room. And I'm gonna tell you this, I feel like this, man, and as much as it hurts me to say this, because I don't want to see Micah in another uniform, somebody got to stand on business. One of these players got to stand on business and finally say, nah, I ain't gonna conduct business this way. You're not doing right by me. Like these other franchises that we looking at paying these guys and getting negotiations done and deals done. And one thing I want to reiterate before we leave, in that what Micah wrote, he called Jerry Jones a snake. I don't know if anybody interpreted it that way, but he said we had a meeting and he left as if we were negotiating a deal without talking to my agent. He said, you tried to snake me. He didn't say that verbatim, but that is what I contextualized when Jerry supposedly thought that they had a negotiation done or they started to negotiate. So if Micah is dug in, kudos to you, bro. I hate to see you go. I would love for you to be a Dallas Cowboy as long as possible because you're a phenomenal player.